On this episode of the John 1911 podcast, a Ross rifle shows up in the armory. Trump says, "Get off my plane." The Russians dump an Su-33, and you can get fake U.S. government papers for $6,000. Okay, good morning, everybody. This is Marky and Freeze, and this is episode 48 of the John 1911 podcast. How's it going, Freeze?
Good.
Do you think it's bad that I open up a show with a lie? Because I said good morning.
Oh, yeah, that's true. It is actually. You know what? Here's the thing. With my schedule, morning, afternoon, evening, it all blends. It's morning. Look, with my schedule, it's always morning sometime.
It's 8 a.m. somewhere in the world, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
I mean, when you work third shift, morning, evening, afternoons don't mean a whole lot to you.
Yeah, we talked about maybe doing a podcast yesterday, and then, you got busy, I got busy, and then we were talking about doing one at 3 o'clock, and then you had reached out and be like, "Hey, let's do a podcast today." And we decided at 3 o'clock, and then you basically contacted me at 2, and you were like, "Hey, let's go do a podcast now." And I'm just like, "You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me." So,
hey, man, you got to jump in and get it when you can.
Yep, I was just getting ready to mess with the Ross rifle, but no, you interrupted that crap.
Strangely enough, I've got on the books later on this afternoon to work on the barrel of the Yugoslavian K98.
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you this right now. Dude, the barrel on that Ross rifle is rough. It is rough, woof, rough. I don't think... you know what? Nah, you know what? Hit it with some Ed's Red, shoot a couple rounds through it, hit it with some more. Look, as long as there's not major pitting in it, that barrel will clean up, and I haven't even seen it. Yeah, I mean, can't remember if I put the... I don't know if I put I'm looking over at it. I don't know if I put my normal, like precision rifle cleaner down it, but I've actually switched to bronze brushes. I may actually have to go to a tornado brush and a steel brush, and I actually probably have to break out some sweets on it, because it's got, I don't know if it's cosmoline that sat in there, or if it was, if it's just that built up corrosion, but I mean, I got to get it out. I mean, look, it's a milsurp rifle. It doesn't need to be it's not going to be a match gun anyway, but it's definitely, we're definitely looking at maybe having to put some sweets down it. So,
well, you know what? Hit it with the sweets. If the sweets doesn't work, I'll mix up a batch of Ed's Red, because I don't have any currently. But the Ed's Red is for many, many years, it is the standard bore cleaner for cleaning up old, nasty milsurp rifles.
I'll be honest with you, I've heard you say Ed's Red before, but I don't even know what that is.
Well, I don't know where it's Ed's Red because a guy named Ed came up with it, and it's red. But you can't buy it in the store. You can't buy it in the store. You have to mix it up yourself. And
it's a potion.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And all the milsurp guys that are listening to this know what I'm talking about, and they're probably scratching their head going, "How the hell do you not know about Ed's Red?" But
hey, look, you're the milsurp guy. I'm the modern guy. So,
but look,
what the hell?
If Ed's Red doesn't clean it up, then...
Yeah, I mean, it's not that bad. Look, it's bad from like a, precision rifle shooter perspective. You look at that barrel, you're like, Jesus Christ. But it's not bad for a milsurp. Especially considering I rescued it from some hole-in-the-wall shop outside of D.C. So...
Yeah,
Yeah, I went to Washington, D.C. and came back with a gun, so.
Yeah. Yeah, like that's never happened before.
Yeah, and it'll happen again too. So, but you know, it's I didn't know a whole lot about them. Those Ross rifles have been on my long-term watch list, and actually, you know, they didn't really know what they had. They knew what it was, but you know, the gun, you know, it's got some flaws in it. It's got a few small cracks in it. The butt plate's hanging loose on it, and you know, but it's a Mark. Is it Mark II? So it's not the ones that blow up. So it's safe to shoot. But I didn't discover it until I was able to actually get it back to the hotel. It is yeah, I snuck into the hotel with me. I wasn't going to leave in a truck overnight. It's got the U.S. Army acceptance marks on it. So it had, you know, it was a Canadian gun that they shit canned. And then when the war broke out, we bought them from them and used them for training. Is that right?
See, I don't yeah, I mean, yeah, kind of. There was so much of this Lend-Lease crap going on. I mean,
well, this was World War One.
But I mean, we always traded and gave away shit to our allies. Even we did that in World War One as well. So I don't know if we bought them so they could generate some cash to buy weapons from us, or if we traded them, or
I see what you're saying. You're taking it from the perspective. Okay, I see what you're saying. The real motivation for moving the money.
Yeah, okay. Because it's not like, you know, we're like, whoa, we need a big old batch of Ross rifles. Really? I mean, you know.
In 303.
Yeah. So, you know, of course, then again, the way bureaucracy works, you know, some politician who had some pork in Canada might have said, well, you know what, if we're going over there, you know, the British use 303. We need some 303 rifles. I mean, yeah. You know, but look, regardless of the case, you know, we bought a small batch of Ross rifles, and I say a small batch because let's face it, it was never really a high production run manufactured rifle anyway. You know, and if you gotta have one of those pieces of crap, you might as well have one that's U.S. marked. I mean, at least here, it's got the most intrinsic collector's value.
Yeah, this one isn't. It's not sporterized, so it's got the original wood on it. It's got the bayonet lug on it. It's not the one that's good. The Canadians had all kinds of problems with.
Well, my question is, how bad is the stock cracked? Because I've never seen a Ross rifle that didn't have a cracked stock.
It's got two cracks. It's got let me shut down that email. It's got I don't know what you call it. It's got a crack up. The Mark II's had this funny ass lever up on the forward right side of the stock where you depress it with your left hand and it depresses the follower. It's some kind of quick load feature. There's an old crack under that. And then on the left side, I would say near the, you know, on the left side around the receiver area, there's a hairline crack that's coming up. The hairline crack is, you know, it's moderately long. It's got.
Does it run back through the pistol grip?
No, it's nowhere back there at all. It's real fun. Honestly, the way you do your magic on these things, you could probably make this crack go away.
Okay.
That second one, I'm convinced. I bought it and I was like, yeah, Freeze will be able to clean this thing up real nice.
Yeah. Well, man, we'll look at it, see what we can do with it. The key is cracks aren't that big of a deal as long as you stabilize them and stop them from running. If you can make them disappear, that's gravy.
Yeah, because it's a shooter grade gun, so I mean, yeah, we're gonna definitely definitely be shooting it. So the crack has to stop. So yeah. What was it like? I was going to shoot the video now. You had told me like the butt plate's kind of hanging loose on it. One of the screws, it's got two screws in the butt plate, and one of the screws is is, I guess, kind of stripped off. So, you were just saying, well, hell, the screw just doesn't grab at the very end in the wood. You were just like, just take some toothpicks and shove it down in there and screw it in and see if it grabs. And then, if that doesn't work, do the whole wood glue screw thing. And obviously the worst case you said was drill it out and put a dowel rod in, but we're nowhere near that.
Yeah. I mean, worst case scenario, and I've only come across this one time where the hole was just totally stripped out to where there was no threads left inside the wood, to where you could literally take the butt plate screw and literally slide it freely in and out of the hole.
Yeah.
So I just took like a 1/2-inch drill bit and drilled the entire hole out to the, little past the depth of the screw, took some wood glue and glued a dowel into the buttstock, then trimmed it flush, and then just re-drilled, rethreaded it, and boom,
There you go.
Yeah, and basically you make a plug that you can drill and rethread. Now, in all fairness, that's an extreme fix. And most butt plate screw holes are not that stripped out.
Yeah, the only I guess the only reason I maybe while the toothpick thing may not be as desirable as say is like doing the butt plug. I don't know what you call it, but would be that like if you're actually using this gun out in the woods or in the weather and it gets soaking wet and you need to take it all apart to get it dry, and that gun gets soaked and you may want to take that butt plate off. I've got butt plug on my mind now. Get that butt plate off. And, the shit falls out of it. Whereas the dowel rod would be like would be a permanent solution. So.
Yeah. But look, the truth is the toothpick issue is good and you're, as long as that works, you'll be fine with it. I mean, it'll be fine.
Yeah. I agree. Yeah. It'll be good. So, I mean, it'll be fun. I'm gonna, when we get done with this, I may shoot a quick video on the toothpick trick. I mean, here's the thing. If the toothpick trick works, I may post a video. If the toothpick trick doesn't work, I probably won't post the video.
Yeah. Well, see, here's the thing. Anyone who knows anything about woodworking is listening to this right now going, oh my God, I can't believe he's never heard of the toothpick thing. I mean, look, that's like basic. You learn that in high school wood shop.
Hey, our freaking, banner for this podcast is Kelly's Heroes. And you remember the scene when the tank was broken down and they're talking to Oddball and he's like, why aren't you back worked on the tank? He's like, oh man, I just drive him. I don't know what makes him work. Seriously.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're the gunsmith around here, dude. I just pulled the trigger. So.
Yeah.
You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me.
Yeah.
So, look, I was running around today. What the hell is going on with Trump and Air Force One?
Well, apparently Trump's just like, we don't need to spend $4 billion on a new Air Force One. So stop building a new one.
I wonder what the ultimate, because one thing with Trump is he's we're all playing checkers and he plays chess, and he moves a piece, and I'm suspicious there's something going on here. Air Force One is actually, there should be at least, 2 to 4 of them.
There's
at least 2 of them, because whenever the president flies, a second plane flies with him. A second mirror Air Force One is even parked on a airfield that, is a backup.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing that I'm not 100% sure about. Because the article that I read, it said that Boeing was building a new 747. It cost them like $4 billion. And the thing is, I don't think they're using the 747 for Air Force One. Aren't they using like the 777 or something? Aren't they using like the bigger model?
I actually know the answer to this.
Okay.
They are using 747 dash, I think it's the 800. It's the last of the, or is it a 400? It's the Boeing is shutting down the 747 production run, but the Air Force, the last iteration of Air Force One and this one is a 747.
Okay.
They haven't switched to the 777. I don't think the 777 is as big as a 747. So, I mean, if they wanted something, you know, with the same, because they do, I mean, they keep it pretty. I mean, all the crap that's associated with Air Force One and the president, people just, I mean, it's just, I mean, they're packing a lot of crap in those airplanes and a lot of people. And then there's room for press. And I don't even know if a 777 would be big enough. They would lose real estate. So what are you going to do? Air Force One making an Airbus what's the big giant Airbus? It's one that flies over your house now.
Oh, that's the A380.
Is it the A380? The big giant one.
Yeah, it's a 380. I think it's dash 800 or something like that. I mean, the thing's a monster.
Yeah. So
I mean, you can look. Yeah. I have 747s fly over. They're all the time. They're
DHL.
I think they're DHL. And, you know, but I'll tell you what, when that Airbus A380 flies over, brother, you know it. I mean, that thing is just, it's obnoxiously loud.
And here's the thing. I was over at you've been telling me about this for years, and I was over at your house. It was, I don't know, it was this past summer. And, I'll be damned if one of those didn't come over, and I was like, holy cow. I mean, it's like the first time you see a C-17, you're like, I had no idea they were that big.
Yeah, I know. It's amazing, isn't it? It's like, damn.
I mean, you just like, I can't believe that's a fucking civilian airplane. I shouldn't say fuck, but fuck it.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, it's like, wow.
Yeah,
you know?
They're monsters. I mean, it looks like, I mean, I remember the first time I saw that airplane and I flying, and I could kind of see how I felt like what a caveman would think looking up and seeing something strange in the sky and thinking it's some you know, sun god or something. You know what I mean? I mean, it was crazy how big that airplane was.
Yeah.
Compared to everything else.
I mean, the 380-800 is it's, I believe in who knows, the Russians might have some, you know, some stupid ass large plane that flies around the tundra somewhere. But I believe the Airbus is the largest passenger aircraft made.
I believe it is too. It is. I mean there's like the C5 and all that. I don't know how the C5 compares to, you know, to like the 747 or the Airbus, but that's a C5.
But those are military. You know, I'm talking about civilian.
Yeah. I'm telling you what, the first time I ever saw a C-17, I couldn't believe how big it was.
I know, they're monsters, aren't they?
I was like, that is a lot bigger than a 141. I was just like, holy cow, that's a big goddamn airplane. Yeah. You know, since we're talking about airplanes and you mentioned Russians, I just thought I'd say this. You know, the Russian Admiral Kustanov or whatever it is, they're a little ski jump aircraft carrier off the coast of Syria. Mm-hmm. They flushed an airplane a week or so ago after it got on station. So we'll call it Commie Station. So it's on Commie Station off the coast of Syria making attack runs on U.S. backed ISIS rebels, and which is true. And you know, their entire Air Force. I mean, just their problems. It's a shit show, and they lost another one yesterday.
Really?
I think it was a MiG-29 they lost like a week or so ago, and this was like an Su-30, like I can't never say it. I can type it, Sukhoi, but it's one of their higher end airplanes and like a new one, and it went into the drink. They're claiming it was a broken arresting cable.
Yeah.
But you just never know. I mean, it could have been engines, it could have been whatever. So I thought I'd bring that up.
Yeah.
So, well, are we going to talk about Pumpernickel and Fidel's Jeep?
We will. But oh man.
Pumpernickel is our nickname for Colin. I can't ever say his goddamn name. Kempernick or Nipple Liquor or
I don't know. I can never I can never remember his name. His real name. But just as a data point, the Airbus is like, before we move on, the Airbus is like 240 feet long. That's pretty freaking long.
Yeah.
But an interesting data point that no one thinks about, everyone sees, the iconic pictures of the Hindenburg blowing up, and everyone's seen the Led Zeppelin album cover and all that shit,
Yeah.
Okay. Just to give you an example, think about what you were saying about seeing the Airbus for the first time going, oh my God. And that's like 240 feet long.
Yeah.
The Hindenburg was 800 feet long.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, now when you look at that picture of the Hindenburg blowing up, think about that. Think about the scale. That thing was 800 feet long. Could you imagine that flying over your house?
If I was really good, I'd roll in audio. We're going to try to up our production value, with the guy on the radio talking about the, whatever it is. Maybe I'll have Mitch do that. Roll in audio of the guy talking about the Hindenburg.
Christ, ladies and gentlemen, the smoke and the flames now, and the flame is crashing to the ground, not quite to the mooring mast. All the humanity and all the passengers screaming around it.
Yeah. But anyway, that was just an interesting data point. It's like, I couldn't even imagine seeing these big Zeppelins flying around the sky today.
Yeah, well, after we kicked their ass in World War II, it kind of knocked the shit out of them on that one. They shouldn't have used they should have used helium instead of whatever the hell they were using. And weren't we like the world's only source of helium or something?
Yep, but we were.
So, So anyway, I want to talk about Fidel. So you saw the pictures of the Jeep?
Oh yeah, I did.
So Colin and Pumpernickel, has come out. He hates America, but he makes, $20 million a year, whatever he makes a year. And he's the quarterback, I guess. Is it for the 49ers?
Yeah.
And
well, you heard he was benched after Sunday's game.
I heard that basically the Chicago Bears basically put a bounty out on his ass, and he spent. I think he has a new record. It's the worst.
He broke an NFL record. He actually was sacked more times than yards passed. That's almost like physically impossible to do.
Yeah, I think they said his total yardage was like 3 or 4 yards.
Yeah, he was sacked 5 times and he threw for a total of 4 yards. Think about that. That's like almost impossible to do. To throw, if you went out on the field and said, I'm going to not throw for any more than 4 yards, say 10 yards. You're a quarterback and you say, I'm going to set my standard. I'm not, unless you do an all running game, it's like not even possible to throw for 4 yards. It's amazing.
Yeah, you can flea flick longer than that.
It's like, wow.
Yeah, I was real happy to hear that. And then I guess, I don't know if it was the same day or about the same time, but they're having the state funeral for Fidel. And, it's a state, they're running a convoy, a procession. And I guess it's a glass. I think my understanding is they cremated Fidel's body. And then they put the ashes in a coffin, because I saw a coffin in a glass case, a la Lenin, maybe. And they're running this thing down, probably Revolution Boulevard or whatever the hell this is. And the goddamn Jeep stalled out. And there's these Cuban soldiers pushing this stalled out, shit show.
Yeah, but you know what? Isn't that such a fitting end to Fidel?
Oh, God, yeah. That guy, and people don't realize is, as broke and backwards and screwed up as Cuba is, Fidel's worth like $1 billion. His family and his girlfriends. And
yeah, well, when you starve the populace and hoard everything, I mean, look, it's no different than these little banana republics down there in Central America and in all the freaking backwards countries in Africa.
Yeah, Mugabe's the worst one. Mugabe has taken Rhodesia, Zimbabwe, and just destroyed it. But he's going to be the next one when he dies. That could probably break out into some kind of conflict.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You don't get a cookie for that prediction.
Oh, come on. I get it, because you know what? Nobody in the U.S. media is covering it, but, we obviously cover it, so.
Well, yeah, but, that's the U.S. media. They're the ones that are also trying to say Fidel was a great guy.
Yeah, it's just a bunch of bull crap. I mean, whatever. I mean, it's just a bunch of bull crap.
Yeah.
I mean, but I just saw that, and he died on Black Friday, the big capitalist day, and then his broken down Jeep. And again, was it a Jeep? I mean, was it an actual American-made Jeep, or they just call it a Jeep? What was that vehicle?
You know what? I don't know what the hell it was. I think it was just something that they put together. It was probably something that he drove around in. I mean, I don't know what the hell it was based on. It was funky looking.
One of my favorite pictures of Fidel was when he's meeting with who's the Khrushchev, the guy that took the shoe and was beating the table at the UN.
Yeah.
That hill jack. I mean, the man was Khrushchev was a dirty hill jack. First of all, he was he was a dirty hill jack, and so Khrushchev's sitting across from Fidel, and they're in Moscow at revolution frickin' bullshit whatever, and Fidel's got 2 Rolex watches on, and smoking some big old fat cigar, and I'm just thinking, yeah, and this guy's worth $1 billion, and these stupid kids and stupid pumpernickel, it's just people just don't even know their history.
No, they don't. No, it's a shame, really. But what the hell can you do? I mean, what do I always say? Millennials are stupid.
Yep. So, you know what? Let me give you a little, I got a couple police blotters here. You're going to like this one. Did you know that in New York City, you can be arrested for having BB guns?
I did not know that, but I mean, with that being said, doesn't really shock me.
Well, here's
I mean, it's New York.
There's this little girl, and I don't know if the national media is going to pick this girl up or not, but she's she's young. She's just a young girl. But, look, Freeze, you know the type. I'm too pretty to go to jail. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
You know the type, right? And, so she was, I guess, her and her, drug buddies, they decide to rent a room at the Gramercy Park Hotel. The Gramercy's a very nice hotel in New York. So I don't know what they did. They either got on Snapchat or Facebook Live or some kind of YouTube Live, but they were prancing around waving BB guns and doing dope and all kinds of stuff, talking about how they're at the Gramercy, maybe partying or whatever. And people on the internet, called the cops. So it's actually turned into a SWAT call. The the actual freaking emergency services shows up. What do they call them up there in ESU? They call them in New York City. So they show up at this swanky at the Gramercy Hotel, and it's just like, oh fuck. Which people just, unless you know this, it's just awesome. So they go in, they make entry, they arrest her and her buddies, and she is a 25-year-old jet setter. Like, I don't know, maybe she's got money. Was held on $30,000 bond after she was charged with felony criminal possession of a controlled substance. I'm shocked. Possession of an imitation firearm and possession of marijuana. So she's actually, there's pictures of her. She's mucking it up in court, and she starts telling either the judge or people in the court that if she goes to jail, she'll be the queen of Rikers Island.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, you know the type. Come on. You know these freaking kids.
I know, but Jesus. Someone actually is douchey enough to use that phrase.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I wasn't sure if there is a reality show for Rikers Island or if she was saying that there should be. It wasn't really clear to me because I don't watch much television.
Actually, there is a reality show for Rikers Island. It's called Law and Order.
That, look, I mean, for real, is there a, the one show would occasionally, they would show up in these cities, we've had them here, and, they would show either patrol, they would stay for a couple of weeks, and they would go on a patrol with a bunch of units, different municipalities, and then they typically will spend 1 or 2 days in booking at the regional or county jails. And, it was really interesting for a lot of people to see what goes on just in booking. But then what happened was politicians started getting wise to it, and they started basically saying, you're not allowed to come here anymore and do this because you're going to make us all look bad. Because you're going to make our city look like a bunch of dirty people, dirty dopers. So anyway, she's, her name is Maxine Hansen, Hansen. And then she's, but I don't, here we go. Hold on, let's get here we go. Here's a quote. This is what I want. She said, Rikers Island needs its own TV show called Rikers Gone Wild, which she was willing to star in. She said, I'm so animated and my whole life has been wildness. They held us forever and were asking me all these questions. And I'm like, look at me. I look like Britney Spears. I didn't do shit. And then she goes, we're just harmless kids doing drugs. We were just having fun. And then the SWAT teams come in and go, you want to fucking die, bitch? That's literally what she said. It's just like, you just know there's some defense attorney going, oh, fuck. Wow. Get the microphone out of her. This girl is awesome. 'Cause she's special and she doesn't realize that she is, she's going to find out that she's not. The judge, she was bonded out, and the judge has already warned her that, like, look, you don't show up, you're going to, they call it bail jumping up there. So, it was just like, I just thought that was awesome. She just makes my day. And then, there's one more freeze. What is we can talk about this because the statute of limitations is over. Let me, what is the fastest you have ever gone in what's your personal land speed record?
My personal land speed record is 123, 124 miles an hour.
Yeah. Let me see. I can't remember what mine was.
It's under 125.
Yeah, mine.
My fastest on the water was 73.
Okay. Yeah, I did mine on a crotch rocket. 600cc bike. Nothing too big, but I may have hit 120. I can't remember. But you being a car guy and I'm a car guy, but you're like, I'm a guy that drives them. You're a guy that worked on them. It's like, Kelly's Heroes. These kids today, they'll talk about these cars and, whether they're sports cars or exotic cars or they're, whatever. It's amazing how many people just assume that all these cars can go 200 miles an hour. It's like the same thing, like you see some kid that's never been to the gym, you're like, how much can you bench? And he's like, man, I bench 200. It's like, dude.
Do it.
Yeah, it's like, people don't
it.
Realize benching 200 is not that uncommon. It's not uncommon at all. I'm a gym rat, but these people that never work out thinking they can bench their body weight just have no clue what they're talking about. But the example I'm giving,
oh yeah,
how rare it is to find a car or a vehicle that will actually go 200 miles an hour.
Well, okay, there's a couple factors here. It's one, you're right. There's not a whole lot of cars that will hit 200 miles an hour, and the ones that will are, the thing is, there's no roads around here where you can really hit 200. Maybe if you go out west, but east of the Mississippi, there's not too many damn roads you can go 200 miles an hour on. You know what?
Actually, that reminds me of a story. I've never told you this story. I know a guy, he's kind of a douchebag. He had a Ferrari, and having a Ferrari is nothing. There's no correlation to him being a douchebag. But he was out he got in his Ferrari, and he got one of his buddies, and he got on the highway and wanted to show off. He literally had just gotten this car, and I don't know if he was going around a bend on the high. I can't remember the exact story, or whether he needed to slow. For some reason, he's running this thing up. And for some reason, he jammed on. He was like, holy shit, I got to slow down. Well, he locked up the tires for just a millisecond. Then he let go. Yeah. Burned 4 flat spots on his tires. So now the car is like, blah, 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 Again, It's not like it is in the movies.
No.
And, but let me go back to why I'm bringing this up. My personal land speed record is from a crotch rocket. Is yours from a car or a bike?
Car.
Really? Okay, I'm impressed. What was it again?
It was a 1971 Plymouth Cuda.
Oh, I've heard of this car. Well, how fast was it?
It was like 100. I couldn't get it up to 125.
Okay.
It was hovering right below it, 123, 124, something it never hit the 125 mark.
Okay.
Or if it did, I didn't see it. Because, it's not like I was staring at the speedometer the whole time, But I couldn't get it up to 125.
Okay, here's the blotter. 19-year-old Hector Ferrari, I don't know if I'm saying his name right, first tripped a radar gun doing 84 miles an hour on the Kilpatrick Turnpike in Oklahoma City. Before speeding away, police try to pull him over. Again, not uncommon. People think they can outrun the radio. Sure. According to Oklahoma Highway Patrol, Ferrari's heavily modified 2011 Ford Mustang. Now, he's in a car.
Oh, and he's in a Mustang, too, so he thinks he's got a fast car.
Oh, God. I used to race Mustangs. All right, okay, hold on. 2011 Ford Mustang was then clocked doing 176 miles per hour. And then 208 miles per hour as he tried to elude the chase vehicle by turning off his headlights and brake lights. Did he actually have a switch to turn off his brake lights?
No, I was going to say, how do you turn off your brake lights?
Well, hold on. An Oklahoma Highway Patrol spokesman tells As the pursuing officer lost contact with the vehicle, he radioed ahead to any units in the area. A Canadian county deputy sitting in the parking lot spotted the car, was able to intercept it. Driver then pulled over, dropped his keys out of the window, and was arrested and later charged with reckless driving and felony eluding. They're not saying, I would have to research it, but he's a kid. But dude, his heavily modified Mustang, he got a Mustang on the street up to 208 miles per hour.
That's impressive.
And let me tell something to a lot of people out there that don't know this. And even if you're a Mustang guy, you may not realize this. Mustangs are notorious that if you wreck them on the highway at high speed, they split in two. They split right in front of the firewall. But the engine compartment, the firewall, they break right there. They come apart. Those are not cars that wreck well. It kills.
Well, hey, I got news for you, Slick. At 200 miles an hour, no car wrecks well.
Yeah, but like it's not uncommon for like an 80 some mile an hour Mustang, if it starts sliding and it slides into something, it actually breaks in two. This kid got this car. So it's a 2011. Is that the 4.6?
I don't know.
Were they up to the 5? No, because I had a 5.0. I had a 94. They had a 5.0. Then it went to 4.6.
Honestly, if it was heavily modified and it was a Mustang, he probably had like a 429 hopped up.
I mean, I don't know what
I think
some of the Mustangs are now back up to a 5.0, but they're probably a higher compression than the original 5.0s.
Yeah,
but isn't there a 5.4 now Mustang?
That's the Cobras. The Cobras, and I'm not a big Mustang guy, but the Cobras are running like the 429s, whatever liter denomination they have for that, which is their big block, and those are the the 600 horsepower cars. The 5.0s are just basically the 351 engine.
Yeah, I haven't looked at them in a while because I moved on to better cars. But I was impressed. 208. I mean, look, if you're gonna catch a felony.
Well, yeah, if you're going to catch a felony, you might as well do it right. And and he didn't have. I don't know if you can, with the exception of one of those really high dollar, limited production Cobras that Ford's putting out. I don't know if you can get a production Mustang to hit 200 miles an hour.
No, I highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. They're just not. They're straight line cars. They're just not. They're not designed. They're just. Yeah, this. Kid,
honestly, to be honest with you, I'm surprised he was able to hold it to the ground. I would like to see this car because they're saying it was heavily modified. I'm wondering if he had like ground effects on it and shit. Because
the wing and it maybe had it jacked up a little bit.
Yeah, he might, a lot of these cars, wind gets underneath of them and they lift. So, he might have had a fascia on it that was just, an inch or two, off the ground. The ground effects to keep the car down, plus, a wing on the back to hold them down. Seriously.
You know what? That's a good point. Cause I'll tell you what, my Mustang was so light that that the rear end would break loose in morning dew.
Yeah,
that's no joke.
No, that's typical with Mustangs though, because they're light in the rear end. They don't have a long, they're pretty shallow in the ass end of them. But like for example, like in NASCAR racing, hell, on the super speedways, they put restrictor plates on these cars to slow them down to keep them under 2. Not that they don't hit 200, but they try to keep them down because once they start going 200 plus, those cars start lifting and, and those cars are race cars. And
an average Indy car, the IndyCar cars, they're basically airplanes with wheels on them.
the fact that he was able to keep that car on the ground at 200 miles an hour is pretty impressive.
Yeah, I was like, damn. And there was one, actually, I had forgotten to mention it. A soldier, I don't know if he was down at Fort Bliss. He, I don't even remember, he may have died. He may have wrecked, but he had his, I think it was a bike. He had his bike up over 200 miles an hour. There have been a couple of these, a couple active duty guys that have gone down on bikes doing that. And, you know, and it's never good.
Yeah.
A bike for sure, so.
Oh yeah, I mean, these crotch rockets they have out there, they fly.
Oh yeah.
There was,
well, doesn't Harley have a crotch rocket division? Isn't it Buell Harley's racing division?
Buell is associated with them, but they're not really crotch rockets. They're kind of, they're racing bikes. Let's just put it that way.
Well, yeah, but they're a race. They're geared towards racing, and I thought they were Harley.
Yeah,
I've never had a Harley.
They're not a traditional crotch rocket like a traditional, like a Ninja
I've never seen one with like a full
or,
fairing or anything, but yeah.
Although I tell you what, I knew, speaking of, kids thinking they can, not realizing they can't outrun a radio. I knew a guy years ago. He was a young kid, early 20s, and he had a crotch rocket, and he lived. Actually, it was the next county over, but he was on the interstate. And a cop got on behind him and he just hammered it. And, cop didn't even try to follow him, cause, you can't really follow these guys.
No.
And, he said after about 4 or 5 miles, he realized, he lost the cop. So he just kind of, keyed it down and cruised on home. And he said, his house was like 3 houses down on his street. He said, as soon as I turned onto my street, there was a county cop in his driveway.
Yeah. You can't outrun the radio, bitch.
Nope. He learned that the hard way.
So,
but, getting back to Castro's Jeep, I looked it up while we were talking. It's a Russian UAZ.
It's one of those crappy commie cars that spews black smoke. Yeah, I didn't think that looked like a Jeep to me. It was like a bullshit Jeep. So yeah suck it, Bernie Sanders. So I'm gonna give you 3 pieces of why I love Donald Trump. Okay, you ready for this one?
Yeah.
Three Donald Trump things in a row. All right, let me see if I got them here.
Outstanding.
The first one is, Donald Trump, I guess he called, or he took the call, or he called the president or premier or whatever of Taiwan,
Yes.
the Republic of China as opposed to the People's Republic of China, and the ROC versus the PRC, and that pissed off the Chinese, and I don't need to go into all that for like Chiang Kai-shek and all those people out there that, if you want to know the history of why this is a big deal, you can Google it and do whatever. But, they're, Kerry and all these people and like a Chinese state newspaper came out and basically called, Donald Trump is an amateur. His shows as an experience. And Donald Trump basically, he told all these people, he goes, you don't tell the United States who we talk to. It was just like, dude, I love this fucking guy. Then the second thing is, over the weekend, I don't know who this person is, but this person is a high-level Republican, I guess, fundraiser dude. And he's having a costume party. I don't know why. Maybe it was, I don't know what the actual occasion was, but you had to dress as a superhero.
Yeah, I heard about this.
And, the the president-elect motorcade shows up at this party, and it's outside of New York. It's not that far, so the media is aware of what's going on. And out steps Kellyanne Conway. And Kellyanne's, she's not a young girl. She's not unattractive. And she steps out, and she's wearing, I don't know if it's like Wonder Woman or Supergirl, but she's got like a, a little, superhero girl outfit on. And Donald Trump gets out. I guess, she's his date for this event. He gets out and he's in his normal whatever dress with a long black trench coat. And, they're waving or whatever. And, and they go inside, and it was reported somebody asked Trump, "Who are you supposed to be dressed as?" And he didn't even bat an eyelash. He went, "Me."
I tell you what, I heard that yesterday, and I thought, man, that is so awesome.
Because you know what? Look, straight up, Mitt Romney would have rolled out that goddamn SUV in like a freaking, Happy the Clown outfit, not being dignified, and or Jeb Bush. And Trump has enough swagger. He's like, me. He doesn't even pretend. He doesn't have to try to feign like, oh, well, it's got to be. No, he's like, no, I'm my own superhero.
Yeah.
What are you going to say? You're like, yes, Mr. President-elect. I love this guy, dude. I love this guy. It just that story. I laughed about that. It was just awesome. So anyway, I obviously you'd heard about it, so it is what it is, or whatever.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. Did you? I'm hearing rumblings, and I don't know if it's just the media trying to, I don't know, wish for the best about electors refusing, saying that they won't vote for Trump when the Electoral College meets?
There are some. They've been reported. I haven't followed it that closely. I don't know. So, okay, here's a question I have for you. Maybe you can Google it. So, how many electoral votes did New York have? Was it like 29?
It's either 26 or 29.
So if New York has 26 or 29 electoral college votes, does that mean there's 26 or 29 people? So yes. Individual people? So here's the thing. If there's 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people that are going, I'm not voting for Trump.
Yeah, his margin over Hillary is so high that, a few people won't matter.
I mean, I think he's at 306, and you need 270 to win.
Yeah,
he's in the 300s.
Yeah, so I mean, to
and and let's say they get it all the way down to a tie of 270, and it gets thrown to the Republican Congress, Republican House. Who are they going to give it to?
Who knows?
They're going to give it to Trump. Dude, let me this way. You want to see the quickest road to insurrection and civil war in this country at this point? Even the Democrats, you try to take this from Trump and they were to succeed in doing that, dude, it would be open warfare. Well, I don't like to use those words, but it would be fucking terrible.
Well, but here's the thing. Here's the thing. I mean, there's I think Hillary's got.
I think she's at like 230.
Yeah, something like 220 something. Okay, let's say 230. In order to get it to go to Congress, they would basically have to tie.
And that would be 269 and 269. Yeah, not 270. 270 is a win.
Okay, so if enough, I mean, if he's got 3 something, you'd have to have like 30 something delegates not vote for Trump to bring him under 270. They're not going to give it to Hillary because she's not even close, even if they can get Trump under 270. So, I mean, what do? They'll give it to Trump.
Yeah, I don't know. How does that work? Is it 270 to win, or is it?
It's you have to meet 270.
Well, you have to meet 270 in a two-way race. Is it 270? Like, if this person doesn't vote, or this person votes for Jill Stein, does it still have to be 270, or does it have to be? It's probably 270 because it's like a 2/3, right?
Yeah, I mean, in order to win, you have to have 270 electoral college votes.
Typically, everything's like 2/3 in the Constitution. 2/3, 2/3, 2/3. That's like what a supermajority is in Congress, is 2/3. It's probably 2/3.
If no candidate receives a majority of electoral votes, the House of Representatives elects the president from the 3 presidential candidates who received the most electoral votes. Each state.
So there's the answer right there. Here's the thing, a majority. So if he comes in with 265 and Hillary comes in with, 250 and Jill Stein comes in with a couple, he still gets it. He still gets it out of the Electoral College.
Yes.
So, speaking of, one more thing with Trump, why I love Trump. So there's only one sporting event that I really watch every year. It's this weekend. It's the Army-Navy game.
Yeah.
My boy Trump is going to be attending the Army-Navy game this weekend. And I'll be honest with you, I've thought about this a lot. I always thought the president should always be at the Army-Navy game. I mean, obviously, I don't think it's required, but I always makes me happy when that happens. And this guy Trump, buddy, his instincts are like right on, especially now when you factor in how crappy the NFL's doing and, all these bullshit players that, don't appreciate how good they've got it. You got these kids playing college football who are committed. If you're good enough to make it to the NFL, guess what? You can't until after you serve your time. Trump is unstoppable. I love that guy.
Well, yeah, I like him too.
Yeah, I mean, it's just awesome. I'm like, and that came out of nowhere. It's like nobody's pressuring him or asking him. We weren't even calling for it. Well, what I like about Trump, and this is something that the freaking Democrats can't wrap their head around, is as much as they like to demonize Trump, man, Trump is a patriotic American. When's the last time you seen any freaking politician, be it Republican or Democrat, that's a true patriotic American? They're all politicians and they're all looking out for themselves. Yeah. I mean, look, Trump has actually predicted this correctly. We're going to win so much, we're actually going to be tired of winning. Dude, it's like every day, every damn news cycle, he wins 3 times a day. Yeah. It's like, it's almost to the point, it's like, man, I'm getting tired of winning. I mean, not really, but you know what I'm saying? It's just like, Trump, you can't call these people, or you can't take that call, or you can't do this, you can't do that. No one tells the United States who we can and can't talk to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like,
yeah. Well, I heard,
and I will admit, $4 billion for 2 fucking airplanes. I mean, the B-2 bomber's only $1 billion a pop.
Well, but here's the thing: is it 2 airplanes or 1?
It should be at least 2. I guarantee it has to be 2. The Air Force One package is a minimum 2. I've seen as many as I think 3, but there's at least 2. Has to be. You know what? I can Google it right now while you're talking. Look, I can't Google while you Google at the same time because nobody's talking. So I hear you clicking. So you go ahead and Google it. So
okay.
So it has to be at least 2. And here's the thing: the current Air Force Ones, they're not going to the special air mission planes. They're not going to retire those. Because when they rolled in the 747s, they still kept the 707s.
Well, they're always going to keep backups.
Yeah, so, I mean, the 2 new planes isn't going to be like, oh, we're getting rid of the 2 old. I could swear there's at least 3 of them now. The current ones, I think there's 3 of them. Well, and also, too, there's a couple that are not, they're not badged as Air Force One. They don't look like Air Force One, and they don't probably have all the amenities, but they're 747s. They're the, like SecDef, I think SecDef I think his is a 747 as well. I don't know why I think that. I just think I've seen Gates on one. I think it was a 747, so.
I tell you what.
I'm gonna switch this to gun news. Oh, you got some numbers on the Air Force One?
No, it's one plane.
There's no way. There's just no way. It can't be one plane. I mean, here's the thing. I would check the bona fides of whoever you're looking up, because I would check. I mean, you could even go like the RFP or something with GSA or something, because there's just no way it's one airplane. Because they're going to match and be the same, and it's got to be more than one. They're not going to have one airplane with special capabilities that other planes don't have. Just that's that's just not how the military spends money. You know, it's like, didn't you ever see the movie with the space shuttle when they were going up after the asteroid? Why build one secret space shuttle when you can, for double the price, you can get 2 of them?
Yeah, you're mixing your movies, but I get your point. But
I don't care. I watch goddamn movies. I got gun news here. I want to give it to you.
No, I'm telling you what, I think it's one, because the cost of just one of these is almost $2 billion.
What's a $4 billion contract?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's 2 planes.
I don't think so. It
was a $4 billion contract.
Yeah, but I think they're only building one.
Maybe one at a time.
Yeah, I don't know. Research it, but I think it's only one.
It'll shake itself out in the news cycle. We don't run an aviation blog. It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah.
The reality is, even though Trump's calling for this, they're not going to shut this program down. They'll build one or negotiate the price or do whatever. Because I remember there was this drama when Obama came in, because they were changing Marine One. So under George Bush, people realized there was a huge problem at 9/11 when the president is flying, when National Command Authority is flying around on the helicopters, they were kind of not optimally positioned to do things. So they really beefed up the Marine One wing. They beefed up the helicopters, and it was a lot of money. They really put a lot of stuff in these helicopters. And I remember Obama complaining about it, when he came in, when he was inaugurated, he was like, well, or like when he was president-elect, he's like, oh, we can, these helicopters are perfectly fine. Who needs to ride around these helicopters? And you know what? There's still they've got those new helicopters. They're I don't know if they're Sikorsky or they're not Blackhawks. They're special, I don't know how many of them there are, 4 or 5 of them, but they're special run just for the president. So they're hardened and all that. They're more like Air Force One as helicopters than,
Uh-huh.
So, it's all. Obama did the same thing. He's coming in, he's going to save money and do all this, and he didn't, and whatever. So, did you, have you followed any of the news coming out of Europe this week? This week?
No.
Well, the right is on the march and the left is on the run in Europe, because Italy, the Prime Minister of Italy, he's announcing he's going to resign. The left, Holland, what's his name? Hollande, I can't say his name in France. He's out. The guy in UK's out. Well, the Merkel, Angela Merkel, she's really kind of the queen bee of the EU, Germany. she's come out and she's really singularly responsible for all these migrant problems in Europe. She's the one that really kind of pushed, basically, oh yeah, we can do that shit. And she's now come out and she's going to stand for re-election. I don't know if she's going to get re-elected because every time I talk to somebody in Germany, they hate her. But she's talking about deporting 100,000 migrants. That's one of her platforms, and she's come out yesterday saying that she wants to ban burqas.
She wants to deport 100,000 migrants. Isn't she the one that let 100,000 of them in?
Oh, I think it's like 1 million.
Yeah. So I guess they're going to put them on the same. I guess the boat from Australia is going to swing by Germany and pick them up, and before they sail right on into the U.S.
Yeah. I don't. That's but you know what? You may actually be on to something, because here's the thing. Look, let's talk politics here, okay? This is why the left does this in the U.S., because the American left is in many ways influenced by the European left. And the worst thing you can call somebody in the European left is a Nazi, because they're the boogeyman. The Nazis were the bad guys. I mean, like you go to Ukraine, the Russians call the Ukrainians Nazis, and the Ukrainians call the Russians Nazis. They're all fighting against the Nazis. I just real curious. Like 100,000 people they're going to deport out of Germany. How are they going to do that? They're going to buy them first-class plane tickets? Or are they going to throw them on trains? What are the optics of that going to look like in Germany when you're rounding up people in masses and moving them around?
It's going to kind of look like 1939, 1940 all over again.
Yeah. And, if Angela Merkel I'm just watching this and I'm just thinking, man, this is going to be really interesting. Because I don't think nobody in Europe has the balls to stand up to an accusation that you're a Nazi, unless you're an actual Nazi.
Yeah.
Which there are some over there. Again, this is where I love like all these lefties in the U.S. and this is an example of the left being in the U.S. being influenced by Europe, and most people in the United States don't really realize it. Europe in general is really anti-Semitic, anti-Jew. I mean, the governments and the people seem to think that after World War II, a lot of that was settled, but they're not pro-Israel over there. They're not pro-Jewish over there. They're anti. They like it makes it easy to use the Jewish community as the scapegoat a lot of problems around the world. And you see a lot of that here in the U.S. as well from the left. The left has turned into this in the U.S. into this really anti-Semitic, anti-Israeli, and it's even interesting because you'll see. Roger was telling me about some of this. Our buddy Roger. A lot of these American Jews that are anti-Israel.
Yeah.
And it's bizarre.
I always found that just weird.
Yeah, it's just, it's bizarre. So I have a job for us. I have a hustle after we if we decide to, want to make some money and do something else.
Yeah.
We need to go to a foreign country. We need to rent a office building and put a flag up. Like what we should do is we could go to like New York. We could rent a warehouse and put a flag up in front of it saying it's the Swiss charged affairs building, and you can come here and pay us $6,000 and we'll give you visas and passports so you can go to Switzerland. And right now you're like, I'm not even following what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah.
Check this out. Dude, this is not going to get picked up in the U.S. Ghana has been rocked by the shutdown of a fake U.S. embassy run by Ghanaian and Turkish mobsters.
Dude, I heard about that. That is so awesome.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. There's Turks involved in this too, which issued phony visas for a decade.
I know. Isn't that amazing?
Now let me give some of the numbers. For a decade, an American flag flew outside a battered pink building. Why's it got to be pink? In Ghana's capital city.
It's Ghana.
Welcoming out-of-town visitors who, once inside, found a photo of President Obama hanging on the wall. Dude, you almost wish this had been in Nigeria. That would make it better. Signs confirmed to travelers who had been bussed in from the most remote parts of West Africa that they had arrived at the U.S. Embassy in Accra. The consular officers, in quotes, working there were not Americans, but they spoke English and Dutch and issued official-looking visas and identification papers. They charged customers $6,000.
Yeah.
Check this out. They rated it, whatever. There's rumors. There's another one for the Netherlands that they haven't shut down yet.
Really?
Yep. So,
nice.
I just was like, damn. I mean, that is, and I guess one of the things they were saying is, when you show up at not the embassy, but it can be I can't remember the term for it, but,
consulate.
I guess consulate. It's got security. I mean, you show up at a American consulate. Look at Benghazi. Benghazi had security. Apparently, this place didn't have any security.
No, but the whole story gets even better. Did you read about affiliated with this fake embassy? There was a textile plant. They made clothing and whatnot, but it was also run by the Turks. And what they were doing is on the fake passports, they were using their heavy-duty embroidery machines to do the stitching on the fake passports.
Oh, so it was okay. Here's the $64,000 question. How sophisticated was this operation, and were the passports, quote, passing?
Well, I don't know the answer off the top of my head, but I'm going to speculate that yes, they were passing because they were in business for 10 years.
Yeah.
So so here's the question. How many of these son of a bitches are here in the U.S. with these fake passports?
Dude, you know what? If the story takes that turn, and here's a guy with Donald Trump now, he could grab onto this kind of stuff and start talking about it. And if you're listening to this podcast and you've never traveled outside the United States, say besides maybe Cancun and Niagara Falls, let me tell you how bad it is around the world. All you have to do is open your wallet and pull out some American money, and you will know how many times has your money changed since, in the past 12 years. Has your American money changed? How many times has it changed? Remember, money never changed when we were kids, did it?
No, money never changed. I guess in the last 10, 15 years, we've seen some changes in hundreds, 50s. There's been 20s and 10s.
3 or 4 major changes.
Yeah.
And the reason that is because foreign governments that are not friendly to the United States, that have endless resources, because you're a government, they don't have endless resources, but they've got more resources than just Joe Nobody. They're able to source the paper and the ink, and they're able to have plates made, and they put a lot of time and effort into counterfeiting U.S. currency. The 2 worst counterfeiters of the American $100 bill that they ever got out that was, acknowledged was North Korea and Syria. Syria were but the North Korean $100 bills were supposedly unbelievably good. And that's why when they changed the money, they had to turn around, and like a few years later, they changed again. And then they did radical changes, like they offset the face and they added colors, and then they started putting the magnet stripes in, and they put the tin foil in the money, because these foreign governments are so good. I mean, look, North Korea is building nuclear weapons. They can put the money into making fake currency. And if this is as bad as what you may be intimating, this could be a bombshell. This thing could go off all over, our refugee program and our visa program and, the stuff that's going on. How many is this stuff passing, and did anyone get in the United States? And the thing is, if George W. Bush was president, nobody would publicly ask these questions, and nobody would answer them. Donald Trump, if he gets a hold of this could be a huge story, dude.
It could be.
I didn't realize it was that high end. And I picked it up.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see where it goes.
Damn. Okay, you know what? Some gun news. In and out real quick. Sweden's special forces, right?
Yeah.
Was it like 10 guys?
Yeah.
They've adopted a new service rifle.
Okay.
It's an AK piston gun. I wonder if you can guess which one it is. AK, an AR piston, an AR-15 style piston gun. Who's making all the AR-15 piston guns that seems to be getting a lot of traction?
So what is it, a 416?
The HK416? Actually, no. It was a trick question. LWRC got the contract.
Really?
Yep, which is, it's, their new moniker is Land Warfare Research Center, but it's really, the Paul Leitner Wise, his company. And he sold it. But yeah, they apparently got the contract for the, Swedish Special Forces. I mean, I don't know how many guns that could possibly be. I mean, seriously, what? There's no way that's 500 rifles. I would say it's probably not 300 rifles.
Well, you got however many members plus backup, and who knows?
Some of the reports were saying that the current Swedish guys were still running FNCs. And I was like, cool. And they didn't even make it sound like that they were actually, they were adding it to their inventory. It didn't seem like it was a full scale adoption, like they were replacing everything. But, they wanted an AR pattern rifle, so they picked up the LWRC. Now, in defense of the LWRC, this was some years ago. I was working SHOT Show with a different group, and a guy that worked there, I've told this story before, he was like, hey, come over here, I want to show you something. And because I'm not a big AR guy, I mean, I just, basic AR. I'm so tired of them, you know what I mean? And, this is when there was the competition for the IC, the individual carbine competition, to replace the M16, M4, rifles. And then, the Army basically shut it down. LWRC they had a rifle called, they sell it now called the IC. Dude, this rifle is badass. I mean, it was so lightweight and trim, and it was a piston gun. I was like, damn, it's a nice gun. And I've told you this before. I said, if I ever run across one, at a good price, I would maybe possibly consider picking one up. I mean, I actually saw one down at Bud's Guns, and they're nice guns. Because I remember like the H&K guns when or even LWRC. I remember this guy. He was a recon major. He had one. I think it was LWRC. This thing. Okay, this was 10 years ago. This thing was a pig. The front end of it was so heavy. I mean, I picked it up and I was like, dude, this sucks. You can have this back. I hated these guns. But LWRC's trying. They're getting government contracts, so I was like, good for them.
Yeah.
It's not going to amount to crap, but, whatever.
Yeah.
All right. So do you want to talk about John 1911, or do you want to talk about the man who punched a kangaroo? Because we're going long here, and we didn't talk about it last time, and maybe we should talk about it this time because we're over an hour.
Yeah, whatever. Whatever you want to talk about.
You know what? We'll save it. We'll save it for maybe the next one. So people are noticing some changes on our social media, and if you follow us on, Facebook and our blog page, you'll see that we're doing some stuff a little bit differently because we're kind of moving in a different direction. And we'll, as things kind of settle out and kind of work themselves out, we'll have more information, about that, coming. So if you're curious, and if not, don't worry about it. So, oh, and by the way, a man in Australia punched a kangaroo that was choking his dog. So there, we've done it both. So
yeah.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, let's wrap this one up because we're getting kind of long here, and it's not the morning. It's almost 4:00. It's the end of the day's burning up. So, all right. Well, this wraps up episode 48 of the John 1911 podcast.
48 or 49?
I think it's 48. Did I say 49 before?
I think you did.
Did I? Now you screw me up. You're killing me, Smalls. You're killing me. I have 48 written down, so this could be 48.2. So we'll see. This episode, let me try this. Mitch is like, our audio guys could be like, fuck, I was going to roll in some music. Now I got to do it all over. This wraps up episode 48 of the John 1911 podcast. If you want to follow what we're doing, you can go to our blog page. That's john1911.com. That's JOHN1911.com. Just remember, it's all about shooting guns and having fun. And everybody have a good day.
See you later.